The hate for Mario Kart World over the last month has been insane. There's been so much hate for the game lately that I cannot take it any longer. Your home feed will have you believe this is a terrible game that does everything wrong and hasn't evolved in the right direction one bit. It's the in thing to bash the game on a whole, and it doesn't sit right with me. Sure, there are some genuine concerns and areas to work on and improve, but these have been exaggerated to such a high level. The game has become the punching bag for the Switch 2. It astounds me as the game in many ways is their best effort yet in the series. So today, I want to tell you why this game is the best in the series and unpack the hate everyone has for Mario Kart World. So, a quick intro to the type of player I am. I started the series with Mario Kart DS and Wii. I played both religiously, I skipped 7 and then continued on with 8 Deluxe, which I also loved. I'm more interested in Mario Kart for its online time trails and skill-based gameplay. I love the technical side, as these games always felt so good to get right. I'd usually just smash the Grand Prix, 3-star them, then get into time trials to beat Ghost, then I'd go online. So when World was revealed, I was more so concerned with track design and the impact of 24 players. I viewed the free roam mode as stuff on the side, so I went in with this mentality, which I think plays a part in my view of it. My first reaction to trying Mario Kart for the first time was just how alive everything felt. The characters especially, starting from choosing who you're gonna drive with, like they're dancing now? Of course with the music, like who couldn't help themselves, and we're already off to a better start than before. When driving, I noticed straight away how much more the kart moves, wobbles, and bounces around. Like when you drive on off-road, your tires inflate. When getting knocked by a car, you lean over. And when you do a charge jump, your car scrunches in. On the bikes, you can shift your weight back and forward. You have a lot more range when driving sideways, and your character actually revs up the bike in animation. There's so many visual cues now to tell you what your car is doing. Like compared to Mario Kart 8, which is another great game, the visual cues are night and day. Mario Kart 8 is a lot more akin to previous generations compared to World. In Mario Kart 8, your car just stays nice and flat on the track with no dynamic actions giving you feedback. The gameplay is fine of course, and I loved it, but the inclusion of this doesn't detract but only adds to the experience. In free roam, the live traffic, small events happening on the side of your screen, we definitely need more of these, characters racing around, shy guys standing by the roads, these are all small things that attribute to the game feeling much more alive. There's such a good base for the future here. Then there are the animated cues around you in races, text saying boom when a bomb goes off, the beep text when a horn is used, kaboom when a blue shell goes off. The character animations, catching, throwing, hitting are all more pronounced and obvious than ever before. The day and night cycle. This is such an underrated feature of the game that I don't hear enough people talking about. I feel tracks now have so much more longevity due to dynamic weather, and maybe I'm just a sucker for a night track, but these are beautiful. Whether it's Cheap Ruins at dawn, Mario Kart Circuit during the day, Whistletop Summit at dusk, Shy Guy Bazaar at night, these all offer a unique vibe and atmosphere. The dynamic weather effect, especially in Grand Prix, Knockout Tour, and Free Roam, further emphasizes the feeling of this world being alive. There's a sense of adventure when you feel you've been out driving from morning to night. This is a feature which should be a no-brainer for all iterations moving forward, as it freshens up the look and feel. 32 tracks feel like way more when you add variety in weather and dynamic events. So the people saying the new tech isn't really worth using, that's wrong. And secondly, there have always been routes and features in Mario Kart 8, for example, that you just wouldn't use because they were slower. But charge jumps, jumping off of trees, poles and other column structures, wall riding and incorporating that into shortcuts, grinding and chaining into other tricks, these are all useful when used properly and most importantly, extremely fun to do. All of this gives so much more interactivity to the tracks and world and expands skills beyond just driving flat on the ground. Track design and theming of the tracks. The track design in this game is ridiculous. The best tracks in this game are the ones which give you enough competitive options for skill expression using the new tech. If I had to pick 3 based on fun to drive on, I'd go for Great Block Ruins. This one is so satisfying to play. There's options and paths all throughout the track with never a dull moment. If you have a mushroom, you can take this path on the right, then hop on the rail and trick around the turn to go faster. Shortly after, you can hop onto this rail, land on the pole, start a charge jump, then land on the golden ring, wall ride, and trick back onto the track. There is also this strategy in the world record which I won't bother to attempt. Boost Cinema. This one seems simple enough, but if you learn this track well, you can definitely open up a decent lead online. In a couple of spots, you can use a new mechanic which I don't believe has been in previous games called edge tricking. What you do is get your vehicle slightly over the edge of the road, trick and turn back into the track. This gives you a trick boost without all of the airtime. These are so satisfying to pull off. Then there is what looks like the simplest set of 3 tricks, but is deceptively hard to do at the start. You trick off 1, 2, and 3 small changes in the road height, to then land on the wall, trick onto the pole, to land into another trick boost. Insane. Faraway Oasis. This is just a really nice track to drive overall and uses a wide range of the new tech. You start off with this edge trick spot here, then rail grind and go back and forth with the sign, then land from your water trick onto the rail and trick onto the upper platform. For bonus points, you can then also feather over the last turn if you don't have a mushroom. I love this track's flow, it's really quite nice. And theming across all of these tracks is generally great. Track design sometimes suffers though. Biggest offender I could think of is Starview Peak. Unfortunately, the theming and aesthetics of this track are really nice, but the wideness, long water section, and generally uninteresting turns brings this track down quite a lot for me, which is unfortunate and only offers a couple of spots of new tech. If you've been a competitive online Mario Kart player for some time, then you will remember the soul-crushing VR system from Mario Kart Wii, and now they've brought it back to Mario Kart World. Get ready to win 150 or lose 200 ranking points per match, grind to upper ranks and only win 10 points if your rank is way ahead of the others. This VR system is so punishing in a good way that was really forgotten on Mario Kart 8, where you just continue to accumulate VR to I think 100,000. This really gave no true indication of skill when versing others. If you verse a 9,600 player in Mario Kart World, you know they're most likely a very good player to reach and hold that spot. Whereas in Mario Kart 8, you would just assume someone spent a long time with the game to achieve 20,000 VR. This VR system is a very welcome reversion to a model I grew up with. The music. Wow, the amount of effort spent here is mind-boggling. The album needs to come out on Nintendo Music ASAP. The tracks are what makes Free Roam so good and chill. I think there's something like 500 or so tracks all up. As many have pointed out, it's one of the best albums of 2025. You have amazing original tracks paired with retro remakes done in jazz fusion, which could exist on Spotify just as separate albums. Mind blown with the level of effort here to remake some really obscure tracks I didn't think I'd need. I've also seen people complain about the graphics and say they're pretty close to Mario Kart 8. Are we looking at the same thing here? Of course, they aren't the level of AAA God of War like titles, but there is definitely an improvement here across the board. Plus, with the implementation of HDR and a resolution bump, this is enhanced even more so. This world overall that they've created genuinely feels like a world. I think they nailed the, if we could drive outside the tracks, what would it include? How would it feel like? I think they definitely nailed it here. With the positives, there are the issues and things that the game needs to work on. One of which is this intermission issue, the routes, whatever you want to call it. We can all agree that Nintendo's update to the game making it harder to race on 3-lap tracks was a tone-deaf move. I get it. I think the feeling of this was really exaggerated, as all of the major Mario Kart content creators all complained and flipped on Nintendo. Everyone gets wrapped up in a poor decision, then it turns to the extreme and becomes worse than what it is. I honestly felt like creators probably did more harm here than good for the game. I found myself disinterested watching content on Discord lobbies. I don't care for them, there's no stakes and it's not fun. Ranked competitive is much more interesting but still doesn't hold a candle to dealing with the insane ups and downs of worldwides. I think there could have been more effort here to keep the crowd interested, and large content creators whose jobs it is to play Mario Kart could find this infuriating as their whole day is spent playing one game, but the impact of the decision for them is much worse than the regular player. I'm in the camp of, I want variety. I don't mind a bit of intermissions, and I honestly didn't care for the frequency before the update. The intermissions offered a breath every now and then, and not the straight line intermissions, just to be clear. We can all agree those need to be just dropped from the pool of playable tracks, but there are genuinely some intermissions which are fine and fun to drive. Sure, they don't offer the twists and turns of a tailored, curated track, but still nail the feeling of driving to your destination and not boring you. I just want there to be a greater balance. Perhaps strip out the pure straight line options, have a select few curated intermissions, and make the 3-lap track distributions to be about 70 to 30. I really think Nintendo shot themselves in the foot here with how they marketed the game and set themselves up for discontentment. The way their messaging about the game came across was different to how the game was delivered. You can see it straight away with Free Roam being tucked away on the side of the screen. If their ambitions for this mode was to be a fully fledged open world that everyone was expecting, where you'd play it as just as much as regular races, I think they would have placed much more emphasis on this, even on the main menu. I think what they were aiming for was an option to drive the tracks and intermission tracks whilst having something to do, either while you're waiting for friends, getting ready to play online, or taking a break from the main modes. What everyone instead went into this was thinking that Free Roam was a fully realized open world with heaps of activities to do, which all interwoved and worked within the main game, myself included. But as my main motivation with Mario Kart games is the online aspect, I didn't base my purchase solely on this, so I feel the impact of its shortcomings are outweighed by other aspects. There is something here to be analyzed. Nintendo definitely set up expectations in the wrong way, but I think it's more so down to miscommunication and poor marketing execution rather than malice and tricking the customer into thinking something was better than what it was. Open world engagement. Firstly, there's been a lot of discourse around the free roam world and its level of engaging activities to do. I think there's two camps of people here. Those that will just drive around and stumble upon P-switches, question mark stickers, peach medallions, do them for the easier or slightly harder challenge and continue exploring. And the completionist who really wants to discover all of the P-switch spots, question stickers and medallions and collect them to attribute to a larger goal, achievement, unlockable item. To address the first camp, probably where I'm sitting, I'm treating these just as part of the experience. I'm the type of player who just wanders in a big open world, sometimes to my detriment, so I'm not really searching for these as my main source of satisfaction is with online play and racing. The second camp, if I was to put myself in their shoes, then it is difficult to attach yourself to these items any more than just the satisfaction of completion and some stickers which are really undervalued in the game. I understand this and do think Nintendo needs to do more here. A tracking achievement system for starters as the bare minimum to be able to track where and how you collected the item, and then build value for collecting these items. These perhaps should have been used to unlock more rare costumes or a handful of playable characters. Give people a reason to do this because not everyone is going to take it casually. Cater to all of your audiences. Mario Kart series issues conflated with Mario Kart World issues. This one is more so for people who are unaware of previous entries in the Mario Kart series. The other issues people complain about are related to design choices from previous entries. I've seen people complain about double boxes, the chaos of Mario Kart, but still liking Knockout Tour, which is even worse for this in my opinion, costumes for characters being additional selective options, and bagging. These are issues for people but have been with the series for some time and really depend on taste other than costumes. Please just group them. I personally love double boxes. It increases the strategic item play and I think it's for the better. The chaos of Mario Kart in normal races I think is great, and what makes it such a unique game. When you're on the receiving end of a barrage of attacks, of course it can be frustrating, but I feel the game balances out in the long run. With people of your skill level, you will get an occasional shock dodge, super good item in 6, lucky green shell hitting your opponent before the line. This is all what makes Mario Kart so great, the ups and downs. And what I would also like to see improved is bagging. It's a complex issue. I don't think there's a clear solution. It does need to be addressed, and that's a separate issue, but again has been with us since at least Mario Kart 8. Then there's the Switch 2 issues. This is the last one and probably the most powerful point I wanted to raise. There is also a portion of people who are just unhappy with the Switch 2 pricing. Welcome to a debacle. Limited memory options, game keycard issues, overpriced peripherals, and the Mario Kart World price. This has not helped the game in the slightest to withstand all of the hate, plus with some stumbles of the game itself has created a much bigger issue than what it deserves. All of the above points are valid and worth hearing out, but this often dominates the discourse with Mario Kart World. Check out most comment sections and maybe this one here to see it. I just wanted to provide this video to cut through all of the hate, extreme dislike for the Switch 2 and Mario Kart World as a whole, and try to highlight and potentially sell some of you on the idea of this game. In all, Mario Kart World in its current form provides such a strong base for the game that I'm so excited for its future. I think most of these issues I and the world have been discussing are addressable and can be fixed. There will be more content coming for the game, I'm sure, given the success of the DLC expansion pass for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so I'm really keen to see what happens here. The two issues I'm looking forward to being inevitably addressed is the evolution of intermissions and the expansion of the open world. I'm much more confident on the open world expansion than I am on intermissions, but I'm holding out hope. Either way, I think Mario Kart World is the best game in the series yet, and will continue to play it. Just please keep the content flowing, Nintendo. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and comment below what are your thoughts on the game. Did you like it? What do you want for the future of Mario Kart World? Let's discuss.